All right, thank you for staying tuned. Okay, move straight to our interview segment on the show this morning. Now we are looking at Oyo State Government, UI partners, herbal practitioners on COVID-19. I'd like to take a brief on the story. The Oyo State Government and the management of the University of Ibadan on Friday met with some herbal practitioners in the state with a view to finding a solution that would have scientific validation for the cure of COVID-19. And speaking with newsmen at the end of this second meeting at the university premises, Reverend Itowu Ogedengbe, the executive assistant to Governor Sheyi Makinde of your state, said that some of the herbal practitioners have samples and mixtures. So, but it says something that they just don't want to uh, start professing or start promoting it, but to subject them to scientific validation. Okay, I have here in the studio this morning the Reverend Idowu Ogedengbe, is the executive assistant to Governor Makinde of your state and also your state vocal person on human capital development. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Good morning. Okay, now it's as if your state is now looking into herbal cure for COVID-19. How far have we gone?
Thank you very much. We've gone to some significant extent. We've had people presenting various remedies to the government. So yesterday, I still had somebody come into my office saying that he has a solution that has been used as far as the United States, and it has actually cured quite a number of people. So we've been getting such feedback from a cross-section of the Oyo State populace. And we felt that instead of just allowing them to be given to people here and there, we wouldn't know the extent of damage that could cause. We want a situation where we are able to test those mixtures. We're able to know how good they are, how safe they are. Are they toxic? Do they have any effects or side effects on people's health? So that, because quite a number of people are afraid at this time. COVID-19, as we all know, doesn't have a cure.
Okay.
And so the next thing people are thinking of is, if it doesn't have a cure, I will have herbs everywhere. Can I just use herbs, to protect myself from being affected by the disease, or to ensure that even if I have it, I can get some sort of treatment? So you see a lot of people resorting to self-medication and self-treatment. So we want to ensure that before that becomes a big problem for us as a state, we get all our researchers, our scientists, pharmacognosist, pharmacologists, and we have them in a very significant number. I mean, we have research institutes all across Oyo State, particularly in Ibadan. And we felt, let's put our scientists and our researchers, our professors, let's put them to a task. Let's see, because quite a number of them too have been coming out to say they've been researching into some plants, they've been able to come up with the healing properties of some plants. So, okay, fine, let's get the collaboration. The guys out there, the herbalists that claim to have solution to COVID-19, and you guys in the university, within the academia, why can't we come together? Let's put behind us whatever could have happened in the past, because I know there have been issues of mistrust between the local herbalist and the members of the academia.
Yes.
So we want a situation whereby there's an emergency.
But do you see that happening? Because now let's look at this COVID-19. We all know that some people are asymptomatic, while some people show symptoms of this COVID-19. And for people that are asymptomatic, it's likely for them not to take drug because of what are they going to take drug for, since they are not showing any symptom. Now, the using of this herbal mixture, is it going to go for the two category of people infected with this virus?
I guess the herbal mixture that we are receiving so far, we have been getting feedback from the people with respect to, are the ones that are for preventive usage,
Okay.
that will boost the immunity and ensure that even if you don't know that you have it, or you are likely to get infected by the virus, when you boost your immunity, the chances are very high that you would be able to stay free from coronavirus. So there are people bringing in solutions to that effect. solutions that can help
Boost immunity.
boost immunity. There are also people coming to claim that, look, even if someone has been infected, someone is already a confirmed case of coronavirus pandemic, or he could actually use those syrups, use those remedies, and he will be cured. And quite a number of them are claiming that they've given it to patients. I mean, people in the isolation center, people who have tested positive, and they used it and they were cured.
Are those people tested positive taken to them, or they go to the isolation center?
There's a particular young man that came all the way from Lagos. I guess he has his roots here in Ibadan. He said he works with the team that gets people into that isolation center. They're the ones that confirm that you are positive and you need to be isolated. So when they get them into the isolation center, he asks them, will you want to use my herbal remedy? And if they say yes, he gives it to them, and it guarantees that within 14 days that negative will change to positive will change to negative. In fact, it got to a point where he was actually offering himself that you can inject me. Inject me with the virus and just isolate me for 14 days with my herbal magical remedy, and I will test negative after 14 days. So I said, wow, this is serious. I mean, for somebody to be willing to...
Okay, but if you agree with me, before the introduction of herbal mixture, it has been said that someone that has been contracted with COVID-19, in the space of 14 days, is likely for the person to be negative to that virus, even without taking anything. So don't you think that, maybe it's just the virus taking its course?
I really don't think so. If anybody has contracted the coronavirus, what happens is that the virus is, from what we've been told by virologists and scientists, the virus itself is not something that you can cure. It's just the virus would be eased out of your system or eliminated from your system the moment your immune is boosted, or you have an heightened immune, you boost your immune system, then the virus itself would leave your body. So what happens when somebody is isolated and he begins to get some treatment is that his immune system gets heightened, improved, increased, and that makes him to overcome or subdue the virus. So it's not that somebody is positive and you leave him uncatered for, untreated, and he does not take the necessary immune boosters. It's possible it may actually get worse, and it may actually lead to death if not quickly arrested. Okay,
let's look at this the herbal practitioners and medical professionals now, practitioners in the world. Now, are you seeing the synergy between that two parties coming together?
We are seeing that synergy, and we've had a couple of meetings. We had an online meeting. We brought in the head of some of the traditional medical association, and we also brought in some scientists from the university. We met online, and the response was quite positive. Everybody seemed to be so passionate about coming together at this time that we can make it happen. I mean, the feedback we're getting from Madagascar is pointing to one thing, which I think we all should give real consideration to. If the solution to this coronavirus will be coming, or if it's going to come, most likely it will be coming from Africa. And so we need to really look inwards and see, what do we have? It's going to be possibly from herbs that we will get the solution. And we have a lot of herbs, several herbs that God has blessed us with. So let's look at what we have. Let's look at the constituents of those herbs. Let's look at the symptoms that coronavirus comes with. Let's look at how can those the herbs that we have, how can we test them, how can we refine them, how can we subject them to some antiviral activity, and how can we now see how effective they are. And the moment we're able to do that, then we have a solution. Then we might possibly start working on the protocol for presenting it. And while we're working on testing and all those preclinical assessments, we begin to look at how do we also redefine the standard. How do we redefine the protocol, so that when we go to the global community to say we have a solution. Madagascar is going through a very serious issue now within the global community, before WHO and some other country, because they presented a solution without first clinically confirming that it is effective, it's efficacious. So now
But
they're
for
going
them,
back.
for them, it's working for them, according to them and what they've put out as a report.
The fact that you use something and it worked, it doesn't conform to the process for drug development according to global protocol and standards. So that's what they neglected. They should have fine, somebody can use it and it's okay. What if somebody else uses it and it's not okay? So, but if there is a sort of protocol or standardization, or you have met up some scientific process for validation, then it will be easy for you to say, look, anyone can use this drug, and we know that this is going to be the outcome if you use it based on our prescription and the dosage. It's safe, it doesn't have any toxicity, and you can get treated and cured when you use it.
Okay, this herbal mixture we're talking about. So when are we going to start the clinical testing now?
What we are doing now is we have a committee that is working on coming up with the criteria for collections. And we don't just want to go to people and say drink, and we also want to look at the legal implication of that. Because by the time you collect stuff from people and he begins to say, look, you stole my intellectual property, we don't want all that. We want to be sure that we are ready to take these samples, test them, and the best among all the samples that we know, based on the scientific testing and all the various preclinical and all those stuff, we will now be able to send it to NAFDAC. It will now be, to be collaborative stuff, and we would, at the end of the day, send it to the whole community, the global community, to say, look, we already have a solution coming out of Nigeria. So we want to follow a sequence and all that,
okay.
a process.
Okay, now let's come down to the reality of what we face in Nigeria, especially in this part of the country. We know that we have a lot of ABBA practitioners here. Okay, let's use Oyo State, for example. We have a lot of ABBA practitioners here. How have you gone in making sure that those set of people are not now going from house to advertise what they think is going to be a cure, since that, okay, the Oyo State government is accepting it? So if they can't reach the Oyo State government, now how are you going to make sure that they are not going from house to advertise their own products?
We are going to come out very soon letting people know that, look, don't subscribe to any herbal mixture without ensuring that it's first validated, it's okay for consumption, it's not toxic, because we don't want a situation where all manner of
a mixture
is just going everywhere, but all charlatans, people who don't even know anything about treatment. And because people are afraid, the tendency is that, oh, I have this, you can use it, and people will want to try it because it's a way out, especially those who are showing symptoms for coronavirus. And it could actually lead to a lot of problems. We had a case of someone who was told to mix some some herbs together, and be boiling it and cover himself, inhale the heat, and after some time that he has been inhaling the heat, his lungs was affected, because when the heat on your lungs is too much, it also could cause another problem. And this guy is even not positive yet, but because he wanted to prevent himself, I want to protect himself from being infected, he's now causing another damage to his lungs. So we want to prevent that. We don't want this situation to lead to another problem. So we're going to come very soon through our Ministry of Health to let the people know that we already have plans, and it's not going to be too long, to ensure that we have a confirmed and a tested herbal product that people can use. Instead of them just picking herbal products off the street anyhow, let there be some sort of standardization. And we also want to ensure that our traditional medical board is revamped, so that now that we don't even have an orthodox drug for COVID-19, if we can have that board up and running, and that board will be working to ensure that we even have other medicines or other drugs that will follow established protocol that we can present to the Nigeria, both the local and international community. They will be working, there will be a conjunction between the herbalists and the scientists, working together with that board to ensure that all the various diseases and sicknesses that we have that could have a remedy, a local or homegrown remedy, are also put into perspective beyond even the
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Because one of the major problems in this country is that, okay, we've not been moving into producing vaccine. Because if you agree with me, we still have issue with malaria in this country.
Exactly.
And for now, I think we should have a vaccine that is good. But now that we are looking into herbal now, are we writing off the medical, the medical aspect totally now?
Well,
I'm not relying on them.
I won't be able to say precisely because I'm not a medical doctor.
Okay.
But I guess it's really something that everybody is thinking. I mean, what has happened over the years is we've depended on the developed countries. We've always believed that once it comes from the developed country,
okay,
it is always superior,
okay.
It is better. And so that has, to a large extent, even affected our drive, our desire to really come up with something ingenious, something that could also be like a local solution to some of the problems that we see within the medical space. So I guess now what is happening is already making the virologists, the pharmacologists, and all the various medical practitioners to start looking at what can we also offer. And I think what has happened in the past is because, for you to go into research, you need a lot of funds. And some are just discouraged. By the time they know the size of the funds that they will require to go into a particular field of research. But what we think we can do now, and I understand that the CBN also is saying they will be giving some grants towards research, and I think that is a step in the right direction.
So do you think other states should start emulating this from your state, looking inwards and looking into apps also?
Yeah, every state should, if they have the capacity, if they have particularly the human resources. We have a lot in Oyo State. That's why we're trying to take the bull by the horn. Oyo State is like the secretariat of the Yoruba race, as it were, and everybody within this space. You see, your godfather, your great grandparents know something about herbs, and there's a lady particularly. She was born into that family of herbalists, but now she's added some scientific knowledge to what she knows, what she was taught by her parents. So we have people like that a lot in our state. So we need to tap into their skill, tap into what they know, and see how it could, be helpful to us.
Before we wrap up, I just want you to look into the community transmitting in your state. We say a lot of people are not even maintaining the social distancing and the likes. Now that we have expectation in your state that there is likelihood that we have a cure for COVID-19, isn't that going to be a signal to some people that, okay, I can work freely, it's not necessary I begin to maintain all the precautions again?
No, we wouldn't want anyone to take that as an excuse until we find and we get a confirmation that COVID-19 pandemic is over, until we are able to confirm from maybe NCDC that the scourge is over, there isn't any threats again. That is when we are going to relax the rules. But until then, we still want to encourage everyone to keep to the directive of the state, particularly the directive of NCDC, social distancing, clean your hand, don't cough openly. All those precautions, we should still ensure that we take heed to them, because it's possible for you to be infected from what we are hearing. For you to be infected, be infected, and you know what that will be doing to your lungs. It will be damaging your lungs. We were told that it's possible for one to be reinfected. So if you are even using a drug that kills you, you go again because you are not observing all those stuff, you get reinfected. The impact on your lungs is not healthy. So just stay home if you can, or if you can ensure that you don't need to go out, stay home. But if you have to go out, ensure that you use your face mask, you maintain social distancing and all those stuff. And like, that is very, very important.
All right, thank you very much for lending your voice. On the topic, I've been speaking with Reverend Itowu Ogedengbe, and he is Executive Assistant to Governor Makinde of your state, and also your state focal person on human capital development. And we've been talking on your state government and UI partners about practitioners on COVID-19. So we hope after all the clinical testing, we will have a solution to this COVID-19 that has been ravaging the world. All right, we have to go on this short break. We'll be right back on the program. Stay with us.